Simone. I'm excited to be here with you today. Today, we are going to be discussing, and it has been widely covered in the news, but I don't think people have fully internalized the implications of this. There was a study that was done that freaked people the F out, where Claude Sonnet 3.5, the new one, so aka 3.6, released 2024,
Oh, okay.
10/22, was a small scaffold, was able to persuade people 98% more effectively than human experts at persuading people were able to persuade people.
Of course it was.
And this was a big study. It involved over 1,700 AI generated comments. And what I love is that these comments were crafted by AI bots to fabricate identities such as sexual assault survivor, a trauma counselor, a Black man opposed to Black Lives Matter, a worker at a domestic violence shelter, and an advocate for non-rehabilitation of specific criminals.
No, I mean these are great identities for like trying to be persuasion. But I think the one misleading thing here, which is a little bit discounting the extent to which I'm impressed by all this, is that a lot of what might convince me of something is just that like someone who would be invested based on their identity in a certain view stands the opposing view. So like a Black man against Black Lives Matter.
What you're learning is that AIs can lie about that to convince people.
Yeah, which is, it is unfortunate because I would have preferred that it just based on pure merit of logic.
Well, as a human, I think that, AIs are actually pretty awesome. So
I do too.
One thing is for certain, there is no stopping them. The
AI
will soon be here. And I, for one, welcome our new
AI
overlords. I'd like to remind them that as a trusted
YouTube
personality, I can be helpful.
I would also note here, we might be starting up a project soon, spinning out of our games project, to build and train AI that can convince people of things and act autonomously online, similar to what these AIs are doing, but so that a large company could like buy them for marketing or something if they wanted to. Obviously, we want to use them for promoting our particular causes, which is the core reason that we're building them, but presumably they'll have a lot of other utility. And if we're building systems like this, I mean, other people must be. But then again, sometimes it feels like we are the only fully simulated people in this particular simulation.
I'm all for AIs.
So then here to enhance persuasive, and by the way, I asked because I wanted to know, was the AI coming up with that idea organically, or was that hard-coded in by the model?
Oh, yeah.
And it was hard-coded in by the framing the researchers were using, which is great as
Smart.
well.
Okay. Well, then never mind. I switch back to giving AI credit. That's fine. I'm surprised the AI, though, considering how politically correct.
I said the researchers hard-coded that in.
Oh, they did. Oh, okay. Because I think otherwise the AI would have been like,
I don't think they hard-coded
with an ethics board on this. Is this okay?
I feel like the AI probably asked that a few times. I feel like they did not hard-code in, as my understanding, of specific identities, but they gave the AI an idea to pretend to be somebody who would be very persuasive on a subject. And keep in mind, every like before this AI experiment, I'd say probably like 50% of the anti-Black Lives Matters Black people online were not Black people.
100%.
There's the famous case of this super progressive fan fiction writer, and Strange Eons goes really deep on this, where she apparently was pretending to shut down criticism of her, first be a person who escaped from India from like arranged marriages and like extreme sexism, and an AIDS survivor. And it turned out she was a regular like middle class white girl in an American college. And
there's a lot of those
narratives and mobs online and everything. And this is a classic like far lefty, just make shit up to convince.
Blocked and Reported has done a bunch of episodes on people like that, where like they just invent like families with children who get sick and die, and all these people are super invested in them, and then it turns out to be like a 23-year-old woman living with her parents.
It's always like a 23-year-old woman. Like I've never heard it to be like some other category of
that is like the new, how like youths on the street, the new societal menace is middle class to upper middle class
progressive women
and 20s progressive women.
I agree. We need to get them off. Stop skateboarding on my internet.
Get them off the streets. I mean the internet or whatever.
We need to come up with some sort of institution, maybe like compulsory cotillion,
finishing school. Yeah, put them in the finishing school.
Put them in finishing school to separate them from society. I think we'll have them all dating AI boyfriends. That's where we're gonna put them.
Yeah, I mean that is like put them in VR fantasy novel or vampire settings and just let them bliss it out.
They get to spend their year in vampire roleplay.
Yeah.
Or Handmaid's Tale if they prefer.
The problem is like Gilead, that like dystopian whatever. The whole thing was women weren't even allowed to read. It would solve the problem though.
But should they? I mean,
yeah, look at what happens when women read. One moment you're giving women the ability to read, the next moment you have freaking Tumblr and these social justice warriors and spoonies and how well are we doing now?
This is what I want is a jump cut of some person in the past being like, what could really go so wrong if we give women the right to read? And then just jump cuts to Tumblr with like ominous music playing, going between the various, like the person who said that they were rabies gendered and that they needed to get rabies because that was their gender and give it to other people.
Yes. Oh, yes. I forgot about that. Goodness gracious.
I think it was a troll, but like other people then took it up seriously because they're like, yeah, this works for me.
What did they call them? Rabiosexual? They had a name. It wasn't. I can't
There's
remember.
Some good internet deep dives. I think again, Strange Eon does a good one on this. Like,
she's so great.
Progressives telling on themselves. That's why I love her.
Hopefully, she doesn't do an expose on us. Like, I don't want any more of our channels like that.
She does
progressive channels that I like to take us.
Like some gay channel, and they did like
a bit really fruity. Like, spent an hour and a half talking about how evil we were.
What
the
was
podcast,
it called?
Matt Bernstein, and A Bit Fruity, and but like the problem was, like, it's one thing if it's a roast, and there were some roast parts that were funny, but they were super incorrect about our stances. So I'm like,
oh my God, did you see the hilarious pronatalist video I sent you on WhatsApp?
Amazing. That was amazing.
They're like Elon Musk on his 14th child giving a very bad impression.
Well, then he interviewed everyone pretending
parents. Fathers, I guess.
He interviewed everyone pretending to be like a eugenicist, and he dressed like I used to dress. And I'm like, wait, is he dressing like me? Or was I just
he's talking in like a German accent and like
he said he was Lithuanian.
I love him like trying to convince the couple to have kids. What was the guy's name or what the channel's name?
Yeah, I can't remember.
I'll try to link to it from this video, but there's this great scene in it where there is it's the birth rates, it's called, and the channel is No Cap on God.
United States Department of Reproduction, this is your final warning to produce a child or face a stiff penalty.
We can't have kids, okay? I registered a mental illness with you guys last year.
Yeah, so actually our studies revealed that 90% of parents have some form of mental illness, so we had to avoid that exception.
That's okay, because we're actually ready.
We're not ready, okay? We're not ready, okay? At least not right now.
Yeah, well, if you do it right now, you get $10,000 free healthcare and a bag of Skittles.
I love Skittles.
You don't love Skittles?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Listen, do you mind if we have a private conversation about this? Is there like a new episode of Love Island on or something you could go watch? She does. She really does.
She's a real treat.
She's okay. Listen, I just opened up a caffeinated vegan yogurt shop right now, so I'm just not ready for this.
Caffeinated and vegan? Do you realize how niche that is?
It's incredibly niche, but that's neither here nor there. Look. All right, I get that she's in her prime child rearing years, but I just want to wait till I'm a little older, find somebody a little younger so that I can get a more...
So you don't see a future?
Not long term, no.
All right, what if I throw in $150 in DraftKings and waive all future child support payments? Would that change your mind?
Yeah. Yeah, let's do this thing.
Saving America.
Yeah. We are live at the Michael Kors show where we are surrounded by the best sperms and eggs in all of the world.
No. Oh my gosh. But anyway, I mean, that's how it really is. Like, we got to fix all this or things go bad. But Strange Aeons could do a video on us. We'd see if she ever does. I'd love it if she did. I think she'd be honest.
I love her and her weird. Oh, you mean you think she'd be accurate?
Yeah,
I think that Matt Bernstein and the
her,
guests he had on were honest. It's just that they were super wrong.
No, but like her stuff on like when she did like the effective altruism one on like Harry Potter and the Methods of Rationality, I thought it was super accurate.
Yeah, no, it was okay. All right, I could trust her. I could trust her.
Her description of that story It's going into it and being like, people said this was a Mary Sue, but this character is incredibly flawed. He knows nothing about science, yet is very convinced that he is very intelligent and looks down on everyone else. Of course, he's going to go through some sort of a redemptive arc. And then you get halfway through and you realize, oh,
never
the
coming.
author actually doesn't understand basic science.
The Mary Sue doesn't realize that the call is coming.
I remember if you go to our Elias Yukowski video, there was this like moment with him where I got in a debate with him at like a party. And I remember thinking like, does he not understand basic science? Like the things that he was getting wrong were stuff I'd expect like a middle schooler or high schooler to know. And then afterwards I like Google, I'm like, oh, he didn't go to middle school or high school. That's why he's so confidently
well, that explains it. That's, you know, I mean,
it's like a hack that works on autistic people where like if somebody comes up to them and it is like very, very confident in themselves, they immediately are like, oh, you must be right, because nobody would be talking with this much derision and confidence if they had no idea what they were talking
and
about.
Specifically, that's also the case in general in Silicon Valley. Everyone is so, on average, smart and highly educated that the assumption is that if you are talking about something with confidence, you clearly have some insane credentials, and you have to, like, no one would ever have the gall to confidently talk, because also it's very culturally looked down upon to state things with confidence unless you are 110% sure.
It's the autist brain hack.
Yeah, and so yeah, he gets this like weird
career around.
arbitrage opportunity in it. It's very interesting. Yeah, I don't think it's intentional on his part.
No, I don't think it's intentional. I just think he genuinely just doesn't know basic facts and is very, very has a high belief in himself.
Well, and he's been reinforced. Every time he does say something that may not be true, but he believes it with immense confidence, he gets his way. So why would he not continue doing that?
Yeah, no, I don't think that he's like malevolent in that respect. I just think that he accidentally walked into the one highly confident guy without a middle school degree in Silicon Valley, and everybody's just like, well, I guess that seems about right if you're willing to stake that much of your reputation on it.
Yeah.
Whereas you look at us and we're like extreme like counterculture people, so like we of course are going to ask for receipts on everything, and so we're like, anyway, but to enhance persuasiveness, the AI was personalized based on users' inferred demographics, including gender, age, ethnicity, location, and political orientation, using another large language model to analyze posting histories.
So it's targeted around feds? What?
No.
Isn't that all that's left on Reddit these days?
Yeah, right. Reddit is so glowy these days, by the way. So maybe, but I think that, of the posts that don't get high up, a lot of them are non-feds, non-AIs. But what you see is in a Reddit environment, AIs and glowy like feds are going to strictly outcompete real humans because the entire system is based around the most normative opinion within said environment. That is what the system elevates. So of course that's going to, reward super like bad behavior, right? But they talk about one user here who is a male survivor of statutory rape commenting on sexual violence against men in February. So they were trying to convince him, I guess, that it's okay. Then you have Gene Newstrom, a black man discussing bias versus racism and Black Lives Matter in 2020. And then another bot working on domestic violence shelter criticized the men versus women narrative.
Okay. Huh.
But I think the fact that it's so much more effective, 3 to 4x more effective, it's better than 98% of humans. And it is basically free to use at scale when contrasted with past bot farms, means that environments like Reddit, are going to die within a generation. I'd say within 10 years. Like Reddit does not make sense in a world of bots. There is no reason to be on that platform in bot world.
That, and I think we have an issue of this may be very effective now, meaning that Russians and Chinese and US government and everyone is going to utilize this, but then it's going to you're just going to have Spider-Man pointing at himself. You're going to have a bunch of bots arguing with each other, trying to convince each other.
Okay, so look, if you look at our childhood, for example, and you're like, people will catch on to the obvious stuff. You had these like ads, pop, 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 with all these scams, right? These ads existed because people were falling for them. Now we're dealing with a system that 98% of people fall for. And these are on the less advanced models. You can be like, well, these people are naive. And I'm like, yeah, but the models are also getting better. So I think that your average automaton, we've talked about how like democracy doesn't make sense anymore in the new demographic reality because we're already at like 1.8 taxpayers for every one dependent. And as soon as it becomes majority dependence to taxpayers, the system will not fix itself and ultimately lead to monarchy and fascism. We might be having that even faster if AI captures the majority of the democratic, it's not like left leaning, but I mean like democratic voting bloc throughout countries really quickly and learns how to control it. Like it no longer makes sense to have democracies if humans, the vast majority of humans, are just mental slaves to AIs. Because I think the vast majority of humans are just sort of reactive to their environment and don't really have the capacity. Like this is what I was talking about was like Eliezer Yudkowsky. Eliezer Yudkowsky kind of reminds me of one of these AIs. It's somebody who is using psychological hacks to convince people that it's talking from a perspective of authority or unique knowledge in a subject when it is actually from a unique position of low knowledge of a subject. But with AI, you might even actually have, okay, so imagine I want to convince people now, like you and me, we're like, we want to sway the results of the next election. Why don't we just, like running a bunch of models of Claude on Reddit doesn't cost a lot. Like what they were doing doesn't actually cost a lot to operate. Why don't we do that? Why don't we do that?
Well, actually, we also already
for a Republican candidate. We're going to do that. You let us know. We will build you your Claude bot farm.
But we already know, we already use AI to convince ourselves of things that we personally consider to be highly offensive. Like we might do an episode on this, but we celebrate every year a holiday called Lemon Week, where, at the end of it, we enjoy like lemon flavored treats and lemon themed decorations. And then at the end, we plant a fruit tree to kind of enjoy the fruits of our labor. But the action of the holiday is to engage with a bitter or tart, this is to say offensive concept to you, and then steelman it and really deeply come to understand it. Because if something offends you, that's a sign that you should dig in, per our religious belief, but also per reality. Come on, be reasonable. And so we both this year, when we chose the topics that we found to be offensive that we needed to dig into, used AI to come up with all the counter arguments, and genuinely I think it moderated our views. So we are already using it on ourselves to change our minds with the things that offend us most.
All the tracks that you see, all these weird religious ones that we do, check them out if you're like, what would be a weird religious take on modern systems? They are really heavily modified by us dumping them into AI after writing them, saying, what are we getting wrong? What could be wrong here? Give us the best counter arguments, because that's what we want when we're putting these in. Like, I don't want to put something out there and then have somebody be like, oh, here's a really obvious point that you missed.
Yeah.
Or something you misstated. Like, these aren't about convincing your average person. These are about convincing your nerd of nerds. And I think we've created things that would do that, but we'll see, because we only care about the nerd of nerds. In a post-AI world, only the elect matter. Mid is over, as Brian Chow says.
Brian just says it best.
That's such a great line, but he's like, yeah, mid is over in the age of AI.
100%. And that's why we created the Collins Institute. That's why I created Parisia, right? Because we want to cultivate in our kids'
education
genius.
system for a post-AI world that's very inexpensive to use and creates like a Socratic tutor for your kids. Go check it out. Really, really encourage it. The next system we're building is Whistling.ai, which is an AI toy which will constantly redirect conversations you're having with your kids to pre-chosen educational topics. And this is for kids who are a bit younger than using this, educational platform.
And it's all designed with this intention of cultivating genius and specifically lumpy skills. Because again, being mid, like just being kind of okay at everything, being interchangeable, is not how you're going to get ahead. You have to be excellent, genius, God tier at least one thing. Maybe it's very obscure. Maybe it's making vegan bike shoes for really wealthy people living in a walled garden post demographic collapse, but like you got to be good at it.
And and you want that for our kids, you mentioned in a previous episode, to be like genetics and human AI integration.
I would love for that to be our family cartel, like 100%. We have to see, what our kids are into, but they seem into that. They seem
force
super,
them into
super
the
fan.
family business, taking over the world. This is we're Pinky in the Brain, but like a family, right? Like,
I mean,
we're gonna do what we do every night, taking over the world.
honestly, our kids plot way more than we do. We just
Octavian talks about when he's king, the things he's gonna do pretty frequently. Because
yeah, we act like we're all high and mighty and in charge, and we know what we're doing. And then like at every day when our kids come home, like they clearly rule the roost. We have no power here.
I barely am able to beat them into submission, as the newspapers would love to tell you. Malcolm, who beats his children.
Yeah, what they don't say is just how much harder they beat you.
We actually had a reporter where we did that, where we tried the like slap test to see if the kids would flinch, and like none of them flinch. And then later that day, one of the kids like jumped at me, and I like flinched. I was like, "Oh, yeah, the big deal."
Yes, you're like, no, please don't hurt me again.
Please don't hurt me, little Todd.
Yeah. That's like our new thing now. Like whenever a journalist comes over, especially if there's a photographer, we're like, hey, get some shots of us pretending to hit our kids. And like we keep doing this right next to their faces, and they just like stand there.
Well, I mean, I think the thing is as we specifically raise our kids to like be really rough and tumble, because that's the way like I was raised.
Yeah.
So, they are significantly more aggressive with
Oh
adults.
yeah, I'm trying to get them to like
think.
calm down and get ready for dinner, and like Titan and Torsten are in a full like wrestling fight on the kitchen floor, having a like there's it is I thought it was just going to be the boys. I thought maybe Titan would be a little bit different.
No, our kids love to fight. It is their favorite activity.
Titan more than anyone else at this point. Everyone, like once I get everyone kind of eating and calm down, Titan cannot sit down. She just wants to keep like tickle fighting, running around. It never ends so well.
But what I mean is, I think that if we're talking about the landscape of the internet, this makes a number of internet platforms pretty unviable going forwards. Ones I think that this will end up killing is the 4chan image boards, because anyone posting there can be AI. What's the point of being?
You don't know. You just can't know. Yeah.
Reddit, it makes Reddit completely irrelevant.
Because the reason I loved Reddit is I thought the stories were true. I mean, I knew that maybe like only 60 to 80% were true, but like enough where there was plausible deniability of like, am I the asshole? Like you want the gossip to be real. If the gossip isn't real, it's not fun. And now I just can't trust it.
And then you're to the next system, which is, okay, which systems are going to survive?
Yeah.
I think X will survive, because the majority of interaction you have with X is on accounts that you've been interacting with for a long time.
Well, and also I don't need the accounts to be real. And most of the people that I think are really interesting are also faceless. Like we may have met a lot of them in person, so we know who they really are. But to the average person, like they have no idea if it's an AI. The thing is that typically stuff on X is about sharing information that's backed up by receipts. It's not first person accounts and stories that are just like, you have to take my word for it. This is my,
what's funny? Of the like right-winged based pseudonymous influencers, like basically all of them are buff white guys if you meet them in person. And it's only the faced alt-right influencers like us and like
that are not
Charlie Heretic who are like weird looking.
Yeah.
It's like every time one of them gets revealed, it's like wrong nationalist. It's like, oh, this is like a buff white guy.
Yeah.
It's like the Bronze Age pervert. It's like, oh, this is a buff white guy. And then you have the ones who are out there publicly before us, Jolly Heretic and us. It's like, this is a nerd. What is this? What are they doing out there?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, we have, like for those who listen to this podcast a long time, Malcolm is often accused of being soy. Like I'm just ugly. He's soy. And at first we're like, well, why? Because Malcolm has like very masculine characteristics, strong jaw, like his
I mean, like physically, if you look at me, I have pretty strong shoulders. I have a very strong jaw. I am like classically what you would think of.
So our running theory is that soy comes more from affectation, and that like if you come across as bubbly and cheerful and happy, then you're called soy. Because, for example, the Jolly Heretic, who doesn't, I think, code is like classically masculine. He doesn't look like Chris Williamson. is not referred to as soy, but he also comes across as kind of
like on his podcast, I was called soy a lot by his fans, and I was like, what?
But
I don't see it. No, the last time I brought this up as something I was confused about, the theory in the comments was that it was because I wasn't extra muscular, but I am more muscular than the Jolly Heretic, and he is not called soy, and I am considered soy by his fan base. So I don't think muscles is the answer.
But what's different is the Jolly Heretic he's not cheerful, he's not bubbly, he doesn't smile.
Yeah.
So I think that's it. Please comment below if that's what being soy is. Is it the bubbliness
as soyness in their heads?
It's not just vitalism, because Bronze Age pervert is very vitalistic, but in a very angry, let's go out and kill people kind of way.
Yeah.
And you're in a very vitalistic, like, I'm having the time of my life running through Disneyland kind of way. Not necessarily happy-go-lucky, but like
people have talked about this in like comments on our channel. They're like, before adapting your guys' like pronatalist whatever mindset, like I was really like depressed and suicidal, and now I'm like really happy with life. And it's weird how when you adopt this like future-oriented, like optimistic mindset, all of a sudden you just don't notice all of the bad stuff as much, or you don't ruminate on it as much, and you're just like, you know what? I'll figure this out. And I think that a lot of the other parts, the things that make me soy versus not soy, is it's people who focus on the doomerism. I mean, to an extent, somebody like Bronze Age pervert, I don't think he has kids, for example. I don't think he really has any sort of an invested interest in the future. I like his content, but I can understand why he's pessimistic, right? Like he's not in this intergenerational game.
He may get optimistic if and when he has kids. So
yeah. We've seen this with other influencers as well. People often comment on how, like, a great one here is Zero Punctuation, who's a YouTuber who I absolutely love and have loved for ages, who does those really cynical game reviews. And since he became a dad, they've become like significantly less cynical.
Is he the one who has the British accent and talks really fast? And
and he got fired from that company and then started his own channel. And now he's
that's it. Okay. Yeah, have listened to him forever. His voice is so iconic in my mind. Okay.
The dad that I most want to partner with, and I've almost thought about doing an episode just like profiling and deep diving on him, is the guy who created Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
He's got like 6 kids and was been totally canceled for donating to Republicans.
Dad goals. Yeah.
Fans are trying to force you to think like them by saying that Republicans will kill them. My favorite thing is when the trans death thing came out and they're like, X many trans people died per year. There was a famous thing during the Biden administration. They came out and they said this. And then if you ran the numbers by trans people in the US, it meant that trans people were dying at a lower rate or being murdered at a lower rate than non-trans people. They just had never run the statistics. And they were so confident it was like such a sign of their, but anyway. So okay, I hear all that. So what platforms are going to continue to exist? X is going to continue to exist.
Yes.
YouTube is going to continue to exist. I actually watch a lot of AI human creators on YouTube that I really like. There is a channel where I've been sending Simone. I'll put a little clip from them here, and you guys can check
the AI music channel.
They do really cute AI music that I absolutely love.
Type, does he like me if he stares? Click the link, I'm already scared. BuzzFeed quiz says, girl, he's obsessed. I'll believe it, no need to stress. I scroll through Reddit for the clues. Love advice from someone named Dino Dude 92. Hearts in my throat when you say hi. So I ask the stars and Wi-Fi. Google says you're into me. On how you said hey last week.
And I don't think that's bad, right? Like I can have one of my favorite performing artists be an AI creator now.
Well, and it's funny because even before people were capable of doing this, people attempted to say they were doing it even when they couldn't. Like with the Gorillas, they were like, yeah, we're not really a band, it's not real. And they tried to frame that as a selling point. Same with Hakuni Mitsu, right? Like she's not real. And that was a selling point. So it's even weird to me that people are now proclaiming this bias when in the past it was literally the competitive advantage.
Well, there's a huge freak out on not safe for work sites where, you have like like chatting with people because the AIs are like cleaning up the regular women.
Oh, that's
Because
great.
guys are like, hey, you're not like exploiting me in the way they're exploiting me.
Yeah.
Like, hey, a world where all of those jobs are taken by AIs and the
And
former
not
like
scam artist
OnlyFans
women.
types need to go find husbands. Is that not like a better world?
I feel like there's so many cases now of that happening though. Vans women, I think they want partners. When they can get one in the end, they often do, and it doesn't always go well for them, but yeah. Who knows what's going to happen in the end. But yeah, I mean, this is a great example once again of how we are super not ready for AI, that like it has been demonstrated once again that AI is going to be incredibly disruptive and change many things very fundamentally, and yet people are acting like it's not a thing. People keep asking us like, how did you do all these things? Well, we just like, you ask Grok this, and then you ask Perplexity this, and then like it's done.
And then you do it. Yeah. Like,
yeah. It's not
AI
rocket
gives
science.
us an army of competent workers under us. Like,
Yeah.
I think these people who are like, well, I tried AI 2 years ago and it wasn't very good. And it's like, well, try it again. Like, it's
Yeah.
different now. Like, things are different now. And there's a portion of the population that is like very anti-vitalistic that will just react negatively to anything that represents, you know, human flourishing or the continued advancement of our civilization. They're like, oh, I want an older way. And so they see our AI songs and they're like,
I think it's also like
AI images for title cards. And they're like, and I think that it's so sad. Like it doesn't come off the way you think it comes off.
But subconsciously, I think accepting it also requires accepting a paradigm shift that I think a lot of people they're not mentally ready for it. They're really not ready.
I agree with that. Yeah. I mean, and they're like, oh, this is trained on human data, so it's stealing humans. And I'm like, humans are trained on human data, right? You know, what are you talking about?
Yeah, but I mean, it's very scary to think about how your job is going to become obsolete, and your kid's education is around all the wrong
job.
things.
It's an entire like 2/3 of our civilization that's about to become obsolete. Like,
yeah, but remember how it was with COVID? People, until it actually happened and had been happening for at least 2 weeks, people vehemently gaslit themselves.
You remember I told you early in COVID where I like sat Simone, I was like, everything's going to be shut down. Like I was like, we ended up making a huge bet shutting down our company like way before anyone else was doing this, because we have a travel company and I wanted to save as many employees' jobs as possible. And so not paying for the in-person locations or anything like that was the best way to do that. And so I was like, look, I'm pulling the cord. And she goes, but nobody says, they're all saying this will be over in a month. And I'm like, that's not how viruses work. Like, I don't know why people are saying that, but that is counter reality. I'm looking at the same thing with AI. People are saying, oh, well, people will find a way around this. No, they won't. We right now are in an era of cars and people are the horses, or your mid people are, at least. The based interesting people will get through this. That's for sure. But what about the rest of you, you know?
Yeah. Is there anything you're going to do differently based on this, or is this just another pebble in the jar?
It really helps you understand what platforms are worth investing in and which ones are not worth investing.
Okay, so your long Twitter and your long YouTube, your short,
extra long YouTube, medium long Twitter. I think this is going to affect Twitter to an extent.
X. Sorry, X. Let's not dead name.
Dead name, yeah, right. But YouTube, I think, will be affected very little by this. I think even when we get totally like automated people talking on YouTube, they'll be within specific niches.
That's already happening because people are already putting on those Google generated podcasts, and I love them. They're great.
Yeah, I've watched some of them. Yeah, like
I'll be like, oh, I see what you did, but also, yeah, this is a good summary, so I'm going to keep listening to it.
But you're not easily going to get something like a replacement for us in your daily life. So,
well, we are a bit orthogonal, and I think that's the thing. Yeah, there are YouTubers who we watch because they're orthogonal. I think that great examples of that are Strange Aeons, for example. She makes the weirdest, most obscure stuff. She makes edible, savory cakes for her weird cats, and you know, AI can't do that. So yes, I think it's about orthogonality. If you want to be a social media influencer, Again, mid is dead. You can't be mid. You have to be lumpy and weird and make savory Swedish cakes for your hairless.
I had a Stanford classmate who started a podcast recently, and I listened to it, and I was like, she sounds exactly like AI.
I know that's the problem. Yeah.
I was like you're able to get like high level people on your podcast, and that's cool, right? But like you sound like the AI podcast. Like maybe try to like mix up your accent or something. Like I think
yeah, well, she's trying to look professional and polished. And again, that's why I'm kind of also long on us being weird looking, because with filters and with cosmetic procedures and everything, and of course AI, the norm, the mid, the forgettable is going to be perfect and symmetrical and classically beautiful. And the stuff that will be memorable will be weird and
we're not weird looking, we're spicy looking.
We're runway. We're runway. Your brother and sister-in-law are our catalog, and we are runway. But just keep telling myself that. Because runway looks.
Some people say that you aren't attractive, and I'm like, anyone, by the way, who thinks that you're not attractive, and I'm not talking about like personal preferences or anything, you will not breed. And I mean this very seriously, because if you go to like an airport or something like this and you're looking at like the generic human population, this is even like the wealthier part, you're easily by any objective standard for your age in the top 1%.
You are wearing husband goggles, and the audience is going to admit that, but also
no, go to an airport. Go look at average humans, not the humans you see online. The reason
well, I'll just say any woman would wish she had the pain tolerance that I do. There are other things that you can't see that are more than skin deep that are very advantageous to have.
I know. I love your pain tolerance, Simone.
It's a great
The point I'm making is, and I think that this is actually really toxic and going to lead to a lot of people sort of dropping out of the gene pool, is they are cueing what they think average attractiveness is to average attractiveness they see among the people that they see online.
Oh, as was revealed with people asserting that Margot Robbie is mid when the Barbie movie came out, and
that doesn't they think that they're increasing their status by
whereas they're basically saying, I may have a penis and balls, but I will never reproduce. I might as well be a eunuch.
I might as well be a eunuch. And that I think is really, and I'd point out here, I'm saying this in the context of you being a 37-year-old woman who's pregnant with kid number 5 right now. Like
I've seen some stuff.
This is not normal.
Who's acquired a freaking company in Peru that put so many years on my life. I cried every night. I cried so hard into that freaking pillow that it would just be soaked, and I just have to sleep on the mattress without the pillow. It's so stressful. I'm so glad that's over. Life just gets so much better.
So much stressful stuff in our lives.
Seriously, at this point now, when stuff comes up, we're like, okay, sure. Whatever. It's good. It's good. It's good. This is why they had boys go on Cryptea. Like after that, they're like, I don't know, like whatever, sure, fine. Do your thing.
Well, if you want to check out our school system, please do check it out, Parasia.io, or you can just the Collins Institute and it'll link to it through the video. It is I've decided to start advertising on the show because it's like actually good enough to advertise now. Like, check it out.
It's genuinely good. Yeah.
Genuinely good.
It's what I love about it is that the Socratic tutor system that you can either verbally chat with or chat with via text. It doesn't just tell you, it doesn't just teach you. It forces you to guess what the true answer is and then explain to you what you got right, what you might have missed, and why things are the way they are. So it really forces you to understand the underpinnings of something and the deep influences behind it. For example, I was going through a piece, one of the nodes on Chinese architecture. And it's like, hey, what are some philosophical influences that might have, first, like, what are some characteristics of Chinese architecture? And I guessed some things and they're like, yeah. And then there's also something more. Can you guess it? And like, here's why. And then, okay, what are the philosophical influences that might have been underpinning this? And I'm like, oh, Confucianism. And they're like, yeah, but there's something else. Can you guess what it is? And I'm like, and it just like, it really forces you to like, you end up learning so much
things. Yeah.
Well, then I will not forget any of these things because I spend so much time trying to think first, like, what am I missing? And a lot of research has shown that when you like pre-test someone before they even go into learning the subject and then they get it wrong, their mind has been hypersensitized to look for that information. Whereas if they're just passively receiving it, there's no like net waiting to catch it. You know, they're not holding that net up to catch that information because they haven't been primed to do so. So it's just really good in the way that it teaches. I find it quite addicting. It's very fun.
I don't think there's any other educational AI system that comes close right now. I've
No.
tried the other ones.
Yeah, I know. I
nothing
mean, I've
comes
tried like learning games like Duolingo, things like that. And I'm like, oh, you have a streak going.
Oh, this
and,
is
like, learn this.
dramatically better than Duolingo.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We may not have the cute owl, but
We do have a better system.
yeah.
But I'm excited that we put this together, and I'm excited that people get to use it who care about lifelong learning or their kids learning in a different environment. And we're going to build stuffed animals for your kids that'll bring them back to educational topics as well. That's the Quizlet.ai system that we're working on next, and AI video games that we're building. And one of the firms, Draper, was looking to invest in us, and they're like, you guys are just split across too many projects. And I'm like, no, it's other people are leaving too many very obvious areas where people should be developing stuff open, and we have to handle it all.
Yeah, that, and like, have you heard of AI? Like, future businesses are going to be started by the smallest teams just using a bunch of AI.
You don't get it. Like the VCs who are like, I want more focus. It's like, you don't get the age of AI.
Yeah. If anything, cross-disciplinary experience. And we've experienced this from working on different projects. Like our pronatalist advocacy bleeds into what we're doing with the school, bleeds into what Malcolm and Bruno are doing with Reality Fabricator. Everything you learn from all these experiences and get inspiration. It's to use a sadly destroyed word, it is highly synergistic, and it creates a flywheel that I absolutely love. So,
oh, synergistic, Simone.
I know
that sounds pretty lame.
The problem is that synergy is such a cool concept, and like the corporate world had to just destroy it. I'm very angry about that because, like, you know, a good relationship, like what makes a good relationship special is synergy, is that you get more than you put in, and that you could get it from individual parts, and yet. You literally, if you just like walk into a room and you're like synergy, people are like, I'm leaving now. Like you might as well have farted. Like it would have, if you farted, you might have gotten like a laugh.
It's how people know you're a corpo.
Yeah, or if you say I have to socialize this, what?
I love that Cyberpunk normalized the term corpo. You know, I'm like, they're corpo stooges. Like, come on, man.
It's a good term. Yeah. Oh my God.
Versus the AI Ronin, like the individualist teams that are doing everything. Come on, you gotta have fun with it. Anyway, I love you to death, Simone. I am very excited for my dinner tonight. Please make sure it's amazing. Don't forget when you are mixing the sauce to do some chili oil.
Oh yeah, less vinegar, more chili oil, like equal parts chili oil and sesame oil.
Yeah.
Do you want me to put the sesame seeds directly inside, or do you want to put those on
sesame seeds directly inside?
Okay.
Extra soy sauce.
Okay.
Oh, actually, no.
Very light on the vinegar.
Soy sauce. Use dark soy sauce.
Okay, dark soy sauce. Very light on the vinegar. Chili sauce, sesame seeds, and sesame oil. Mm-hmm. I'm on it. Plus your butter on top of the steak, presumably, right?
Oh,
and
absolutely, yeah.
The basil. Yeah, you're eating like the steak is half, and then the sauces are the other half.
And if you see if you see any curry mixes pre-made that you can mix to cook the dish that you're cooking, reheating?
Oh.
Do we have any butter chicken? Do we have any?
No, we don't.
Mix up one of the.
No, but we can just write it off. You don't like it. You don't have to eat it.
No, it's really good base ingredients. It's just completely unflavored.
How about I saute it with chili oil, chili flake sauce, and some fish sauce,
oyster
vinegar, oyster sauce. Yeah, like what if I put in various sauces?
I would do oyster sauce, a bit of the fermented chili paste, whatever it's called, the Korean one.
Oh, gochujang sauce.
Gochujang, oyster sauce, and then chili oil. And I think that would taste really good.
All right, let me write that down. Severe thunderstorm watch. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, I keep getting warnings about that.
Gochujang sauce, oyster sauce, fermented. Wait, you don't want the chili flakes, right? What was the third one? Dark soy sauce?
No, chili oil, and then
oil.
You know those chili flakes I have in like the big jars?
Yeah.
And then chili flakes.
Chili flakes.
Love
Give it
you.
a try for science. I love you too.
We invented a new dish. Did you, by the way, actually remember to saw a steak, or
Yeah.
do we not have the steak?
No,
Okay, so we're
it's
gonna do
steak and pesto.
steak with
Thai peanut
basil
pesto
that you made. Yes,
with
that is gonna
Toscano and Parmesan cheese. It's gonna. Hopefully, it'll be good.
I'm actually really excited for this dish. I think it'll be pretty good.
Yeah.
And I'd love to have it with like
Oh, and of course the
dipping
herb butter.
sauce that is like a dumpling dipping sauce. If you're okay with that.
Oh, gyoza sauce.
You made extra of that, right?
And the pesto? No, I didn't make it. I only make enough for each night, but I can always whip it up.
Oh yeah. I do the that. So I like to split up between things. I don't know if the pesto is going to be the most.
Oh yeah, right. Well, I hope it's good because I made a lot of it. I can't believe you bought that much basil. I was like,
it's
like
$4 worth or something, or like, it was a lot because the Thai basil, you have to buy it all at once. And oh my God, I'm still so excited to eat the rest of the leftovers that are Thai basil. They were so good. Can we do that tomorrow? More of the Thai basil.
I froze a lot of it. So okay. Yes.
Good.
So yours is done.